So, hi Lisa, thank you for joining
Hi,
me.
Mike. How are you?
I'm very good, very good.
Good.
And so you are well, you describe yourself, what you do.
Yeah, I'm a webinar joint venture broker. So I match one business with another, and so that they can either singularly or jointly cross promote each other and deliver their webinars to each other's audiences. So I'm kind of a bit of a business matchmaker, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. And what was your journey? How did you get into doing this?
Well, I've done a lot of other things before I've come into this. So I've had a kind of quite a long career in education, even taken a bit of time out of education in the army. And yeah, finished off a few years ago as a deputy head and a director of sport, and just knew that it was time for something completely different. And then kind of started searching for what that different was going to look like, and aware that I wanted to use the skills that I'd had in education, which was very much about development and obviously teaching, team building, coaching, but really bringing people together to work together and to, yeah, make the most out of everybody's skills and talents, I suppose. And that if you can do that, it yeah, it's a kind of win-win situation for everybody.
Yeah. And did you start more during the lockdown? Did this become something?
No, I was literally at the beginning of lockdown. I was still in education, but I suppose it was that period of time just then when I was kind of running a key worker school that made me start thinking, yeah, what am I going to do? And yeah, I've been thinking about it for a few years, but that just prompted me to, right, let's make the change. And
Yeah,
that was, that happened kind of immediately after that lockdown. So yeah, it's been quite a journey since then of learning and starting a business, and yeah, I've enjoyed it actually.
yeah. And what is the benefit for a business for doing joint ventures and webinars?
Well, the webinar is the vehicle, I suppose, that's used for this particular type of joint venture partnership. But it really adds, leads to businesses' email lists, if you like. So their email database can really expand just through presenting one extra webinar with one joint venture partner. And it, depending on the level of your business, it might be it expands by an extra 10 or 20 in one go, but it might be by an extra 100 or an extra 1,000. It depends what level you're at. It gives you incredible exposure to your ideal client. I mean, you must know through your business that there's lots of other businesses that are not identical to yours, but they have very similar audiences.
Absolutely.
And so immediately this puts you in front of, a big chunk of somebody else's audience, and they're right into what you're doing, if you like. So it's a warm audience. So you're kind of escaping the kind of push side of your marketing, and your, the idea is kind of attraction marketing, and it's hopefully a warmer route. Obviously, it allows you to leverage your time and your business moving forward as you work with other businesses. And hopefully through that, actually, it reduces your stress.
That's good.
You've got
That's always good.
stress and time. I think they're huge for so many businesses. I don't know, for me, and not for you, I don't think they might, because it doesn't rely on tech. I think you'll definitely have a much bigger understanding of tech than I do, but some people who don't have the tech savvy or expertise, partnership is not reliant on any deep knowledge of that side of things. And I suppose the final one is that, you know, lots of people talk about win-win situations, but the idea behind it really is that it's a win, 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 and then you can keep on repeating the wins, because it should, if it's a good one, it should just keep on going. That, you know, you can keep rolling it out over the years. You've established that trust with your partner. You know that you've both got audiences that are going to feel that they're given lots of value through the relationship and through what the other partner has to offer. So not only will it keep on delivering for you, but yeah, through that, of course, you can scale. And yeah, I mean, if you can do it well with one partner, why can't you do this well with 10 partners? And I suppose it depends for the business how far they want to go, but there's no reason why you can't have multiple partners, and yeah, hopefully grow and get yourself into a position you want to be in your business.
Are there any businesses in particular who would benefit, or could any business benefit from this?
I suppose, you know, for the model that I'm working with, you do need to have a webinar. And you need to have a webinar where you're trying to sell something on that webinar. You know, there's a couple of businesses I'm working at with the moment, and they have a webinar, but it's not a hard sell on their webinar, and they then try and convert people to having a one-to-one meeting with them, and that's really where they try to do their selling. So it's a little bit more difficult to establishing the trust between two businesses that don't know each other, but I, you know, I think everybody understands how that can work better for some businesses. But to have the straightforward webinar where you sell at the end of the webinar, yeah, that is the kind of way forward to make this work. Yes.
So you can do it where you use a webinar to generate leads, but not a sale, but also you can use a webinar for general sales as well.
Yeah, one of those being much more straightforward than the other.
Yeah.
So
is there a particular niche of business which would benefit? Like, for example,
no, pretty much anybody that would sell using a webinar, that is part of their process. I know some people don't call their webinars necessarily. It's not kind of a, I don't know, it's not a particularly sexy, cool sounding name, is it? The word isn't in itself. So I think some people like to call them webinars masterclasses or workshops or something like that. But essentially it's a vehicle that's doing the same thing as a webinar, that sells or generates some leads, and the sale happens in the next part of the process.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, a business comes to you. They have a list, and they're looking for a company who have a webinar and who want to sell something to somebody else. Have I got it right?
Yes, so a company would come to me because they want me to find that other business. They want me to, there's a whole, so they would want me to look for a business that's probably at a similar level to theirs. It's, you know, one with an email list that is similar. So if somebody's got an email list of 100 names, probably the business that's got a list of 5,000 names is not going to be terribly interested in working for that person. So yes, they'll come with me. They've got a particular email list size. They've got a particular following on social media, or particularly good engagement on one form of social media. They have got an offer that is a high enough ticket offer to make it work. So if, you know, if they're trying to sell a course for, I don't know, $100, this is probably not going to work for them. So they've probably got a group offer, and then they've probably got a one-to-one offering, and or a combination of the two. But they've got something that's high enough ticket that that it will work. And then we start to look at all the businesses that what the business owner thinks would be a good match for them. So the business owner themselves quite often has a really good idea. So, you know, somebody who's a life coach would probably be able to say, well, you know, this type of business, the other, well, somebody who's interested in, you know, a specialist in meditation maybe, or somebody who actually is talking about starting a business, because, you know, people are interested in their mindset, probably might well be interested in all part of the same picture. So yeah, I'd have that conversation and we try and reach a, you know, a list of, I don't know, 10, 20 different types of businesses that would be a good kind of match as part of this process. Obviously, I'm not looking at other businesses that are direct competitors to theirs, and that's made really clear at the beginning. So these are businesses that have a similar customer avatar. So we look really closely at what a business's customer avatar is, and yeah, and then that is the key thing really, is finding another business of the same kind of size, same kind of email list, where there is a crossover. So this makes this audience a warm audience, if you like. They're supplemental to that other business. Their minds are already engaged for this other offering that's going to come their way. So the business has got to be prepared for some kind of negotiation. So I do the finding or the matchmaking, if you like, but I don't, you know, I don't determine suitability. So I introduce the businesses then have a conversation, they determine suitability, but they are also open to negotiating, because you're rarely going to find two businesses that maybe are at exactly the same level. So I suppose they need some kind of openness as far as potential partners and how they might make that joint venture partnership work. So yes, and of course businesses have got different values, and it's establishing, I suppose, that the values a particular business might have. And yeah, some businesses that maybe a bit bigger maybe might be quite happy to promote somebody who's just starting out if they think they've got a good product or a good service, but it's not necessarily then going to be cross promotional. So it's a joint venture partnership, but basically one party might just be happy to promote out the other, but they don't necessarily want that other business promoting out their services. That other business is just too small at that stage. So there is quite a lot of flexibility. And I suppose through discussing values, goals, things like that, you establish what a particular business really feels is important when you're looking for that partner. You know, some businesses really think engagement with their social media, that for them is the really, really important thing. Other businesses definitely firmly fixed on the email list and the email database and how big that is.
So some businesses look at like they see the other partner in terms of maybe their influencer credentials.
Yes.
So how influential they are on social media. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of listening and understanding, and then trying to, you know, find somebody who's on the similar wavelength, because you need those audiences to be warm audiences, because otherwise, yeah, you're not. It's like you're, you know, you've got a group of people who've decided, yeah, they are completely not interested in the stock market, and you try and introduce them to somebody who's selling a, you know, let's invest in the stock market course, and it's like, yeah, okay, well, this isn't going to work, is it? So yeah, but anyway, in the end, it's the businesses who determine, you know, when they've had the conversation, do they feel aligned? Do they feel that they've, you know, they can make this partnership work, and exactly how they want it to work.
Yeah, that's interesting, because it reminds me of something I came across many years ago, pre-internet, where you'd have companies who have their own mailing list, not email list, but mailing lists, and they do joint ventures.
All right.
and they would promote not webinars but live, events, live selling events. So it's just, yeah, things have moved forward, and now we're talking about email lists and
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
principles, similar
yeah.
principles.
But it is just, I think, making sure that that other audience is a warm audience to what's about to be introduced to them, because if you can do that, obviously that other audience feels that they're being given value.
Yeah,
It enhances what they have in their relationship with that initial business, and that, you know, the primary business they've got that relationship with, and then they feel that that's enhanced by what's coming their way. So so yeah, that's the way it should work.
is this open to, like, your service is open to businesses all over the world, or is it just in the United
Yeah,
Kingdom?
at the moment, I suppose I've stuck to English speaking businesses.
Yeah.
Yes, but yes, I'm certainly at the kind of USA, Canada, the UK, and then go to Australia, New Zealand. But yeah, we're a kind of globally linked. I don't know, businesses are just globally linked, are they? So even people living in the UK, they might not be English, but I mean, actually, they're English businesses as far as how they're operating. So yeah, it really is open to anyone who communicates in English.
Sure.
In that I am not a linguist, and I wish I was, but I'm just not. But yeah.
And would a business, well, are you involved with the negotiations in terms of how, like the royalties are arranged?
No, I suppose I try to discover first of all what kind of commission splits that they're open to.
Yeah.
And then after
Yeah.
that, it's up to them to negotiate.
Got
Yeah,
it.
but just because when I make the introduction, I want to try and make sure that all the basics are not like miles apart, that because that would just waste everybody's time, and my role is to make sure people don't waste their time.
Sure.
I mean, not everything is going to, people might decide, no, this isn't suitable for me, but hopefully they might get the idea of that before they've actually met, just from all the information I provided them with.
So
Yeah.
So this is a sound like a good route if you have a product, a really innovative product, you're just starting out, and if you can get a joint venture partner to promote your product to a similar minded audience, you're basically piggybacking on another company, and they benefit too, of course, because if it's a quality product, then their email list will appreciate them sending information about this webinar to them.
Yeah, I think that's a really clear example of when possibly there's not going to be a cross promotion.
Yeah.
And and if you're just starting out in business, just maybe to be prepared for that, because what didn't start off as a cross promotion, 2 years, 3 years down the line might well be a cross promotion.
Yeah.
And it's just to take that longer term view, and yeah, be ready for that to happen down the line. But to start with, yes, just to suddenly get that much bigger audience when you're starting out. So yeah, I think if you are starting out, just to try and look ahead and think, yeah, can I get that webinar sorted out? Can I be ready with that webinar? And then to think, well, yeah, the first step for me for a joint venture partnership could be a partnership with somebody who's just going to promote me out, but suddenly I'm getting exposure to this, this much bigger audience, and a much bigger one than I could ever attract at this stage.
And this is a great way to monetize your email list, and a good incentive to build an email list.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because you would, otherwise you'd be kind of, as I say, it'd be a lot of push, wouldn't it, to try and you're getting 1, 2, 3, it's a slow build, whereas hopefully this would be something that would attract a whole load of extra people into your email database, just like that with one webinar presentation. Yeah.
Because I've come across businesses with thousands of email subscribers and they don't do anything with it, and this sounds like a great opportunity to get that email list working for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And obviously the business which has got the huge email list, needs to be open to this idea as well. So I suppose it's an open-mindedness in approach as well. And obviously the new business has got to show that professionalism, that's where the bigger business feels that there's definitely value going to be added.
Sure.
So
now, do you cover webinars in themselves, like what should be in them, how long they should be, or do you leave that to the
no,
partner?
I've got some people that I'm in contact with who do that training. So yeah, exactly how to. So I've got people that I can recommend as far as exactly how to put your webinar together, how to make sure that it's becomes do as well as you can with making sure it becomes a converting webinar. And how to just how to get it out there and how often you should be trying to get it out there. So and then also another contact who actually just coaches presentation skills as far as trying to improve how you actually present it to hold people to your webinar when they actually get there and they're watching it, because that can become just as important probably as having the mechanics of it put together, the kind of wow you're going to lend to the screen.
Yeah, well, that's a relief, I'm sure, for some people watching this and listening to this, because some people will be a bit intimidated by the idea of doing a webinar, especially some people would be, but that's great.
Yeah,
that you have
and
training
I completely get that. And and I think some people might be really intimidated by thinking, oh my goodness, how can I get a Facebook ad together? I mean, people are intimidated by all kinds of different things, and and that's where you find the benefit of having a coach or a mentor or just somebody just to guide you on the way, and just to give you that little step up. And most of us benefit from that in some way. I don't know, I've been a teacher, but I also see myself as a forever learner as well. So and that it makes life's journey richer if you always think you're learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
So we'll move on to the I suppose more informal questions.
okay.
You're okay with that? Just to show a bit more about you as well. So what is your favorite type of food?
My favorite type of food probably actually are things like lobster and crab. And, yeah,
Nice.
I just really like those actually. I haven't eaten them enough recently, but and they always seem to be associated with being somewhere foreign, near the sea, and yeah, really like those.
Great. How about music? Are you a music fan?
Well, I'm not necessarily a music fan in comparison with lots of other people. No, I do like music from the musicals, all that type of music. I can't really work with music on other than what I would call meditative or brain harmony type music.
I know what you mean.
So yeah, but it's I would tend to always listen to a book rather than listen to music, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that leads me to my next question. What is your favorite book?
I suppose I do read quite a variety of different things, and I go through different phases as well of what I read. I suppose what I really like at the moment is just things like Les Brown and Ultimate Jim Rohn. They're the kind of, I like listening to those because I just think just for mindset and everything else, they're really good. And but North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell is just a book that I come back to time and time again, just I think because yeah, the journey one goes on through that book, and how, you know, challenges huge challenges can come up in people's lives, and how they get through those challenges and how they adjust to different situations. Yeah, I just
Yes.
really, really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, great, great. Are you a Apple person or a PC person?
I'm a VC person, actually.
Yeah, well, me too. Me too. Tea or coffee person?
Oh, that's really difficult. I really like coffee, but I do like Earl Grey tea, like really quite aromatic Earl Grey tea. So, but I suppose if I was going to think, am I going to lose one of those two? I'd probably lose the tea and keep the coffee, actually. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think I'd also agree with that. Are you a Megan fan, or sorry, a Megan fan or a Harry fan? Sorry, a Megan fan or a Kate fan?
I'd be a Kate fan.
Right, I'm not asking more on that.
No.
And if people want to contact you, they want to find a joint venture partner, how would they contact you, and
Through
where do you
LinkedIn.
hang out?
Yeah,
LinkedIn's the
yeah,
best
on
place.
LinkedIn. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely the best place. Yeah,
great, great.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Is there any more you'd like to add to what we said already?
No, I think that pretty
Think,
much says it all, really.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you very
Well,
much for having me. I've enjoyed talking to you.
yeah, and you're offering a great opportunity for businesses to get a wider audience.
I suppose there is one other thing I would say for
Yeah, of
businesses
course.
working with me, or startup businesses, and that is there's no upfront cost.
Yeah,
So there's no, you know, there's no sudden investment asked for. It's a case of, you know, if it all goes well and there ends up being lots of sales, then at that point, yes, obviously there is going to be some kind of commission. But as far as the you know, the finding of a business, there's no upfront cost. So there's nothing to have. There's no way really that you can feel that you're failing in doing this, if you like. Well, failing is the wrong word, really, but it should enhance what you're doing, in that I'm working alongside to produce another opportunity.
yeah, yeah. That's what I like about it in particular, is that
Yeah.
it does give a good opportunity for people to start with no upfront costs, and that is a big barrier, having the
Mm.
upfront costs to a business and promoting a product.
Yeah.
So yeah, brilliant. Well, yeah, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks very much
And
for having me. I've
oh, you're
enjoyed
very
talking to
welcome.
you.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Cheerio.